Welcome to the Gyrl Podcast. I'm Kyra Mitchell-Lewis, and thank you all for joining. Hope everyone is doing well out there. I hope your week is going well also. Today, I'll be joined by Michelle Kalkan. Michelle is a life coach, motivational speaker, and founder of Solga with Michelle. We'll chat today about how living a life of balance and growth is within your reach. Michelle will also tell us how she became a life coach. She'll talk about the ULA program and the 7 areas of focus, and also what lies ahead for her in the coming year. So stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Gyrl Podcast. I'm Kyra. All right. Well, now we're back and we are going to be joined by Michelle. So welcome, Michelle, to the Gyrl Podcast.
Thank you. I'm very appreciative and grateful that you allowed me to be on here with you.
Awesome. Well, I am very appreciative and thankful that you decided to join. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Why don't you tell everyone listening or watching a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Okay. So I am Michelle Kalkan. I am the founder of Solga with Michelle Life Coaching, and it's evolved from life coaching into private sessions, group sessions, speaking gigs, just different events where I can assist, whether it be holding workshops or facilitating events or pretty much anything and everything that I can put soul back into life.
Awesome. I love that. Okay, well, let's start here. Why don't you tell us, how did you begin life coaching?
It's a great story, actually. I was born into a very strong spiritual foundation. And so I don't believe in coincidences. I think that everything is divinely orchestrated. And I was at a place in life. I've had a couple different careers through my living, and they all lasted about 10 years. So I always got into something new. And I was in I'm going to call it my last phase, and I was teaching yoga. And what I found when I was teaching yoga is that I really connected with people emotionally and like that heart center, so much more than like the get this pose right or do this or do that. And so I was kind of like, well, I want to make my business grow. I want to stand out in the yoga world because so many people are doing it. And I got an email that said, so you're thinking of being a life coach? And I was like, nope, not thinking of that. Never heard of that. And I just like wrote it off, but I could not get it out of my mind. It was like something, and I had just done a meditation prior, probably 2 weeks, like, show me what I need to know, lead me in the way. I'm not too proud. And then I thought, you know what? I bet that's my message right there. And so I looked into it, found that everything was just perfectly with everything I wanted to do. It was like my whole life had led me up to that. And then I knew that was God speaking to me and that was what I was supposed to be doing. So that's kind of how I got into it. I had not ever heard of it, but I knew that it was from God and I needed to listen.
I love that because I am right there with you. Because it's like when you pray and you ask for direction and guidance, then you have to definitely like be in tune and listening, because it could come that day, it can come tomorrow, it could come like 2 weeks from now, but I definitely am right there. I believe that too. Like nothing is coincidence. It's all divine and in his order.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Love that. Okay. So can you tell us about the types of women that you normally work with?
Yes. So as I'm looking through life, and I was trying to find my niche or my niche at the very beginning, and I have walked through a lot of hardship. Like, I don't want to act like it's like a flex or like some huge proud medals I wear, because I went through it. But what I found through all of it is that I sometimes would question my faith, and it would be like, well, okay, God, I know you're there, but why is this happening? And so what I found is that the women that I most serve are ones who have gone through depression, divorce, single mom, foreclosure, repossession, all of these things that just don't feel good. That any of that stuff applies to my women. But the ones that are mostly like seeking, like, okay, I'm floundering right now in my faith. I feel like those are the ones I can reach out and grab and say, you know what, let me show you how God is really still in the picture and how you can get that faith back. And I go back to the soul, God putting the soul back into life. So it doesn't matter what you've been through. You could be having a bad day at work, but if you feel down and you're questioning your faith, I'm going to show you where God is.
I love that. And I think, that is really important, especially when you begin to like guide or lead or teach, someone else, that you find that your people are going to be people that have experienced something similar to what you have walked through.
Absolutely.
And I think that, probably the more successful coaches or consultants are people who, you're speaking it from the soul.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Just like you said, I mean, and I think, because like I recently just started to do like some career coaching myself. And it's like, I've been, I've worked for like 20 years and I've gone up through like corporate America and I do enjoy like leading and guiding people, because I always feel like for me as a leader, what's important for me is to be able to help people identify the unique things about them that make them special, and to take those things and like help them elevate in their career. So whereas at a time when I was going through like the ranks of corporate America, it was very much about, well, we've got this box and we need you to fit inside of it. And I always was like the one that was like, nope, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like it can't be something that you want me to be. I can only be like who I am. And so I always told myself, like as a leader, that, I would always celebrate the unique strengths of people and not make them feel like they had to be something that they weren't. And I think like that's the same thing for you and why you found success is because, like you said, it's very much like purpose driven, it's heart centered, it's who you are, and you're connecting to people who may have been where you were at a point, and you're teaching them and showing them just through you and your light that God doesn't leave us. Like he's still here. I mean, you just maybe we have to shift our mindset slightly, to meet him, where he's trying to pull us.
Can you come be a spokesperson for me? Like, I would love for you to do my intro. You are fabulous.
Well, I just know, I mean, look, we have that in common, and like knowing like there's all plans are his plans for your life. And and it's not always what we want it. And I'm so thankful that in all the things that I went to God and said I wanted, that like he didn't go, okay, Kyra, yeah, you'll get that tomorrow, because they're just what he has for you is so much better, is so much greater, and so much bigger than what we ask for. So that's I haven't, so it's not hard for me to connect to someone like you and to like speak, because I can like already like just, meeting you and talking to you, like I know it's there. Like I got like, the chills, talking to you.
Yes. Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I do know, and I'm really excited for you to talk to the audience about ULA. Can you tell us about ULA and the 7 areas of focus?
Yes. So actually the infamous email that I got of, would you like to be a life coach? You're thinking about it. It actually came from ULA. And ULA, everybody always says, what's ULA? And I would say it can be defined. And I like to say that if we grab somebody with a feeling. So when you're doing laundry and you go to the dryer and you have your blue jeans, you're folding whatever, and you find a $50 bill. That's the feeling of ULA. And it started with, what does your best life feel like? And the person says, well, like, ooh la la. And the other person says, okay, that's good, but let's take off the extra. So they just kept the ULA part. And that's actually the framework and the tool set that I have, that I actually coach people through of finding out their goals. And we do it through the 7 key areas of life. So we call it the 7 F's of ULA. So we have fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun. Where is there a program where they want you to have fun? Like, it's very rare that you have a personal development that's wanting you to have fun.
Yeah.
That's why I gravitated so much toward it, because it really made sense for me. And we're not so much diving into, we're not therapists. So we're not trying to find out where you came from and how we can make that better. We're finding out right where you are. And the best part about it is, especially for me, there is no judgment. There is nothing that someone can come to me and tell me that they feel embarrassed about or shameful where I'm going to judge you, because chances are I've been there, I've coached a client through it, or I have a best friend that's done it. So I just lay all that down, and we take you from where you are right now to where you want to be. And we have that framework that helps get you there. So it's always successful. So my clients that come to me, they know what they want. They know exactly, everybody knows what they want in their heart. Sometimes they just need a little development from it. And then they need that person to walk beside them as accountability. Like, okay, I want to lose that 10 pounds. Okay, great. We're going to meet next week. We're going to talk about what you've done, your action steps through the week. And when we meet next week, how'd you do? I'm not going to be mad at you if you didn't do your action steps, but I'm also going to show you we're not moving forward because you got to take that work. So it's kind of like a tough love, but I am a personal cheerleader. I am the best friend of the person walking through it. Yeah. So that's what ULA is, that mysterious, it's really just a framework, and it's talking about every person is here for greatness and a purpose, and they just have a process to show you how to do it.
I love that. And I really like that it looks at so many different areas of your life, because you truly are. I mean, no matter what you do, like all the areas in your life, like if you don't like your career or your job, well, it affects your family. It affects your fitness. It affects all the things. It affects your ability to have fun, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's really important. I think that's awesome to find something that gives you this full look. And I like that you said, it's about, people who may know, what you want, and you just need somebody there to walk alongside you and to remind you, yes, I love that, there isn't judgment, because in all things that we do, you're going to slip. You're going to take 5 steps forward and sometimes maybe 2 back and go, well, this week wasn't a good week. Yeah. And so that's okay. It's
exactly.
Yeah. And it's just the fact that you don't give up and you keep going. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Tell us about some of the benefits of ULA.
I would say that there has not been one person in the life coaching business has been around about 3 years. They started with books. So there are a total of 3 books. There was the basic ULA for balance and a purpose. Then there was the ULA for women, which is how I found out about them. And then there's the ULA for Christians. And so there's this large network of people, large network of coaches. The 2 gentlemen that started it, they're 2 doctors. And there has not been one person who has gone through this program that has failed in it. So this is like a proven, it's not a secret. It's out for everyone. It's not super complicated. It's very simple, but it's just sticking through it. And the best thing about the ULA part is that there's the community. We have groups that you can belong to. We have summits, we have master circles, and it's all just stuff for us to get together and walk alongside each other. All of us have the same, I believe in like attracts like. So all of us have the same heart, and every single person that you'll meet that's actually in ULA, it doesn't matter where they came from. It doesn't matter where they're located in this world. They all just, they just gel together. And so a benefit would be that you will not fail with the program. They just have it designed that it's super simple. You just got to follow it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think another thing too, if you're considering what you say with any program or any, step that you're going to take, that it does require a shift in your mindset, right? What are your thoughts on, people who may be out there and they're like, well, I'd like to do this thing, but.
I feel like that we rehearsed this beforehand. I was just going to say that's one thing about me. Like, people ask me, well, what makes you different than any other life coach? The mindset piece. I feel like, and thank you, God, I was born with just optimism in my blood, just pure good energy. And the mindset is so crucial. And part of that helps me with my yoga background as well. I know those affirmations. I know how to, I can do guided meditations with people. I can really get to the root of what's going on and where, because your mindset's going to hold you back. You can pay tons of money. You can hire the best coaches. You can spend whatever. But if you don't have that peace inside you, that I am worthy piece, it's not going to change. And so that's why I really that's the whole soul part of it, putting the soul back into life. I can go in there and I can twist your heart just a little bit and just have you open up to see how worthy a person is, how they are enough, they are good enough, they're this enough, they're, just to really get them to put their mindset in that place where the world is available to them.
I love that. Yes, because that is so important. Like you said, I like you mentioning, yes, you can get all the coaches in the world, you can spend all the money in the world, but like if your mind isn't open to the change or you haven't made that shift, you're just going to find yourself in like what I like to say, the hamster wheel, just like repeating the same process over and over and over. And, and I think it's important because for everyone to know, like, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Like you have to make these small changes that ultimately like add up to a shift. And then one day you're like, wow, like, that thing that I used to be triggered by, well, guess what? I'm not triggered by that. Or now it's really easy for me to just jump up and do these 5 things that I said I was going to accomplish because you have a different type of focus. And I think something that you mentioned that really is important, it's when you find purpose in something and you feel that it is purpose, it's very easy for the mindset to shift and to focus on, that end result.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to address, like while we're talking about the little baby shifts and realizing later, one of the really cool parts about the program is because we're setting so many goals, we encourage, the framework encourages to set some of those goals of like, I'll give you a good example. One of the things that I didn't know that I was falling down in the area of finance is I had completely forgotten after my divorce to update my will. It was like, do you have an updated will? I never would have thought of that in the finance area. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I haven't updated. I've been divorced for 15 years. So it helped me, but that was one of my goals. And actually it was super simple to do. And it's important to be able to take those little tiny goals and those steps because you feel that feeling of success. And then it's like a spiral. You start to really like get into it and the positivity builds on itself. And so you find yourself going further because of those baby steps. So you do have the big goals where, like you were suggesting, you all of a sudden go, oh my gosh, I did this. But you got the small goals along the way that are helping you to the big ones and allowing you to feel that confidence piece.
Exactly. Yes. Because as I am definitely, I'm the person, I've got over here on the whiteboard, I've got like goals for the week that are marked off. And I'm also that person who will like literally write down in a notebook, like at the end of the day, just stuff, and then cross it off. So that I'm like, okay, you did that, girl.
Yeah.
Because I think like that's just important, because I'll hear a lot of people say, like at work where it's like, yeah, like I've had this day and I feel like I've just been doing a lot of little things, but I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. And I'm always like, well, let's see what you can pull out of like those little things that are going to contribute to, that are at least helping towards that bigger goal. So, you still have to like try to find some good in it, even when it feels like you may have had a day where you're like just stuck.
That's actually a great perspective. I appreciate you saying that, because I'm going to use that in some of when I work with my clients. I appreciate that. One of the things that we do in ULA, one of the processes that we use is we have action steps. So either when you wake up in the morning, when you're setting your day, you're going to plan 3 action steps, and they do not have to be complicated. Or ULA recommends doing it at night before you go to bed so you can sleep calmly. And those 3 action steps are what you're going to do before you do anything else. of your day. So I'm not saying if you get up and have a meditation routine, don't do it before that. But once you get settled for your day and you're getting into your work day, do those 3 steps first, because you're guaranteed to be moving. If one person took 3 action steps, 1 full year, you're 1,000 action steps. That's huge toward a change in your life. So it's simple things like that. Like it's not a secret. It's like something that's out there that's super simple. It's just doing it, holding yourself accountable to do that every day, even when you don't feel like it.
Yes. Yes. And I agree with you. I do like doing it the night before, because like a lot of times at night, what I like to do when I'm just sort of like winding my mind down is I like I set the stage for the next day and how I want the day to go. Like, how do I want to approach today? So it's like, I'm going to approach tomorrow with joy. And, then it's like, I pray about it. And then like, God reminds me, like, even when it's the middle of the day where I'm like, oh man, like this is, and I just hear like that voice saying, remember, you said you were going to approach the day with joy. Where's that joy? Where's that joy you was talking about last night, Kyra?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I think like you said, those things are really help. And I do believe like doing it either like at the night before, or like when you're like shutting down for the day, just so then you can go into the resting phase or relaxing or whatever it is that, you do it in the evenings that helps you to like, that grounds you.
Yeah. And one of the key things we say in ULA is you be you. So I always say, and there are people who don't like to do it at night for whatever reason, they like to start their day fresh. And I encourage that, because again, it's you be you. So I can tell you what I do. And obviously you and I have the same routine, but I also can tell you that I'm going to support you if you don't do it like I, because it's really important on you be you. So I appreciate you bringing that for me to be able to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right. It's important for people to realize, like, you have to, because you're ultimately the one that has to keep doing it. And if you adopt something that doesn't feel right to you because your coach does it this way, then it's not going to be sustainable.
Yes.
Right? It's not sustainable, because you're just like, well, I did it for 2 weeks so that I can report on it for 2 weeks. And then the next thing I know, I was off the rails again.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. But I love that. I love that the program encourages, that unique, and that an individual, like, you be who you are and bring that to the table, because that's the important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I could talk about ULA and everything all day long. It really changed my life as far as where I was going when I found the book. And then I just see so many people's lives that it changes. I don't know. I could literally just go talk about it. Everybody down the street, knock on the doors. Hi, can I tell you about ULA? But I wouldn't do that, but I feel so strong about it.
Awesome. Yes, I can. Well, I can hear it. I can tell. I can feel it just from talking to you. Tell us, what do you enjoy most about being a life coach?
I think the aha moments when the person, most everyone cries once they get that little juicy spot, the tears will form. So I don't want to say I enjoy people crying, but I enjoy when they realize like God is there. It's like that breakthrough moment when they go, oh my gosh, because my little slogan or whatever is, if I can't find the silver lining in your dark cloud, I will coach you for free. And when they see that, and when they say, oh my gosh, there is a high from that nothing, it's divinely given to me. There's nothing that better than that feeling, knowing I helped somebody.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Can you tell us about the programs that you offer and how anyone out there listening or watching can work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So through me, because I use that framework, they have like certain packages where you can have a 10-week, the transform package, or a 3-week. One of the things that I'm finding that has really served my people is we have a digital framework now where it's kind of built into your computer. So you have an app for your phone, or you work through the computer. So you can take it anywhere you go. and you're doing it, kind of by yourself, but then there's the complimentary piece where I add on and I walk with you like each week. So that seems to be very cost effective for people. That seems to work for people because it's at their fingertips. Now, while I don't want to take away writing, I'm huge into journaling and brain dumps and that kind of thing. It being at the tip of your fingers, it's almost like a game. So I compare it to my kids. They're on Snapchat. And they have all these streaks, like they don't want their person back and forth. They go for like 100 days or whatever. Well, on the app, there's actually streaks. So you're literally like pushing the button, like, okay, I did this action step, this action step, this action step. And it says, wow, you've made it 38 days. And it's just to get you in there, and it's like fun. So it's not this boring thing where it's like, all right, I got to take notes and then I got to go meet with my person. And it's like a fun kind of thing. So the digital program has really excelled for me and for my clients. One of the really neat things that was just announced last week, there was a summit and it took place in Las Vegas. It was actually partnered with, I'm not sure if you've heard of the Rise Festival, where they let off the lanterns and
yes.
Okay. So ULA partnered with the Rise Festival, and that was a summit that took place last week. And what ULA announced is they are now called the Mind and Body Company. So where they started with this personal development, classwork, coursework, programs like that, they've now added products to it, because one of the things they found is that people were too tired. They were exhausted from what they were doing. So now we have gummies where we have Rise in the morning and we have Rest at night. We have an energy shot that I have compared it. And I am not an energy shot person. I don't like fakey, syrupy drinks, but I compared it to everything out there. It is based on science. It is healthy for you. It's creating that, like the beetroot extract that's in there works with the nitric oxide in your body to have your blood flow just natural. You're not putting anything foreign in there. And so this now it's giving the people the energy shot in the afternoon to get them to be able to do their goals. So I am super excited about the different, now it's products and programs. And I'm like, I never could have imagined what could be from that, but it made sense, because the top 2 F's that people want to work on are finance and fitness. Very 2 top. Well, if you're tired, you can't think straight to do your finances correctly. And if you're tired, you don't want to go work out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So by adding these products on, it was like a no-brainer. And the simple fact that they've been tested, we have a lab now that I can't even tell you how many specialists is, working on these to make sure they're good for your body. Because one of the doctors that's in charge of it, he is a huge workout guy. And I don't mean like take steroids and get muscles. He's like all about like overall perfect health. And there's adaptogens and nootropics, all these words I don't even know yet, which I probably should know, but they're actually, these products are actually formed to help the mind and the body, while we also have the program. So I am super excited. So they're the Mind and Body Company. So I'm
awesome.
Super excited about that.
Awesome. Love that. Okay. And how can the audience connect to you personally?
So if anyone can remember Solga, like SOULGA, like yoga, but Solga, solgalifecoach.com, then there's all kinds of social media links. There's my phone number. There's an inquiry form on the website that just sends directly to my email. Then, and actually, if you remember Solga, when you go on Instagram or you go on TikTok or Facebook, if you just remember Solga Life Coach, it will take you to wherever you want to go. But I always just try to get you to remember solgalifecoach.com, and you'll have all of your links there.
And we'll drop the link in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
So you'll be able to find everything and get to Michelle directly. Well, Michelle, I love this conversation with you today. And I've got 2 more segments with you before I let you go. Next, we're going to do 3 things with Michelle. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. That's just going to help us get to know you a little bit better out there. So first one is, how do you start and end your days?
Okay. So I start by getting up, and I inevitably have to take the dogs out. So I say that because I used to hear these mentors that I would have, and they'd be like, oh, I got up and I had my coffee. And I was like, well, I get up and take the dogs out. So I said, you know what, I'm going to embrace this, because I love my dogs with all my heart. So I have my little outside time. I appreciate nature. And then from there, then I go into like my me time. I always listen to a podcast. It's either going to be business driven or it's going to be spiritually driven. From there, I go and take my journaling time. In my journaling time, I take my meditation time. Meditation could be I'm listening to a guided meditation. Meditation could be I'm doing stretching, kind of like a yoga, or meditation can be I'm just sitting and sitting, basically like the basic traditional meditation. From that point on, I take my next 3 action steps of what I'm supposed to do with my ULA coursework. And then I do my day, which according to my plan on my calendar. My end routine is right before I'm going to bed. I sometimes will listen to a podcast if it kind of entertainment wise, maybe. But most of my podcasts I listen to are stuff that are like how to make your business better, or just I just really like that kind of stuff. I like how to properly be an entrepreneur and all that. It's just fun for me. But then I make sure I look at my day for the next day, and I write down those action steps of what I need to do. And I kind of like you, which I liked your routine. We have little like we have ULA blockers, which are like things that are holding you back, and then we have ULA accelerators. So they're kind of like a joy word, but I take what my accelerator is going to be for the next day and kind of do like you do, where I just say, okay, this is what we're gearing toward, and this is how I'm going to make it happen. And so I make sure I write my 3 action steps. Then that's in my head when I go to bed, and I can know when I wake up in the morning, I'm refreshed and ready. And maybe I dream about it too. So it helps to.
Yeah, I like that. I like the accelerators for the day.
Yeah, it's neat. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Okay. Well, tell us about one goal or intention that you'd set for yourself in 2022, and how's that going for you?
Okay. So I was thinking which one I'm going to pick with this one, because basically at the end of the year, if you're doing all 3 goals for your 7 Fs, you have like 21. So I normally if I'm being honest, when I'm working on my own ULA life, I normally only accomplish about half of my goals through the year. And so this year I said, okay, I'm at the beginning of 2022. I at least want to accomplish 15 of my 21. And I wasn't going to like make it happen. Like I can take advantage of the system and I can be like, oh, I accomplished that goal, but that wasn't going to benefit me. And so I can happily say that right now in October, I am at 15, and I believe by December I will be at 16. So that it took, I wasn't sure, like asked me a month ago, I didn't know that I was going to hit 15 yet, but I just continued to focus on, I was doing the best that I could, and I was following this routine and schedule I was supposed to do. So I didn't become discouraged, but I knew that that's something I really wanted to do.
I like that. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And the last question is, how would you like to be remembered by the people that you encounter or you have met in this life?
Oh, I love this question. It's so sweet. I would like to be remembered that I was kind and that I really lived my every single day with a divine purpose, living through God, not necessarily like going and trying to spread the word to everybody, but just that I lived my life that someone could look at me and say, wow, she's really spiritually grounded. And just being that person that I remember when I was young, and my grandmother was my spiritual mentor. She was wonderful. She was a great minister, but I felt like she was there for me. But she said to me when I was really young, and she said, Michelle, there were people who were born that can build the bridges, and you're one of those people. And I remember back then I was thinking like, well, that's not fair, Grandma. Like, how come I have to be the person to do it? And now that I realize I was that, I want to be remembered that I was born to build the bridges and I really could do it. So kind of like a legacy of I brought sunshine to people's day. I was kind, and I lived a life through my spirituality.
Awesome. I love that. Love that. And now, before I let you go, what are the 3 things that you'd like the audience to take away from our conversation today?
The number 1 is that you are enough. You are worthy. You can do this. there is nothing that is presented before you that you aren't strong enough to do. Number two, that everyone can use a life coach. That life coaching isn't for someone who has problems or someone who has a lot of money or someone who's famous. Everyone has a goal. Everyone has a dream. And life coaching is for everyone, and it is affordable. And then the third thing is, because you are getting a life coach, I obviously want to be your first taste of life coaching. And so I want you to give Solga a try.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was a great conversation. I so enjoyed chatting with you, meeting you, and you can always come back here to the Gyrl Podcast when you want to share more.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Kyra. I really, really am grateful.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Gyrl Podcast. I'm Kyra. Thanks again to Michelle for joining the show today. What a great spirit. I just had such a fabulous time talking to her today. If you'd like to learn more about Michelle and her programs, check out the show links in the show notes. If you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Gyrl, you can visit glowupgirl.com and check out check out past podcast episodes, sign up to be a guest on the show. There are social links and so much more. I also hope you're checking out the career series, which are podcast episodes where I share my journey and personal experience from my career. These episodes are great for anyone who is looking to understand their strengths, elevate in their career, and pivot in their career journeys. You can listen to those on glowupgirl.com or wherever you grab your podcast content. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you all next week. Until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.